cool to see a lot of the people that come back to watch this whole situation, happen. You've got Randy back here. Randy played for you, became part of, this athletic department staff, and I think that's the journey about. You don't realize what you're doing as a head coach and how you're affecting those lives of those players. Just tell me what it meant to these guys that are here, the guys that can't be here. I think we got a wedding that's going on today for Houston.
Yep.
So I think there was a lot that wanted to be here today. But the impact, when you look back, what do you think your impact has been?
Well, I'd like for those guys that are here that played, stand up. Came from Florida, came from Miami, came from Oak Ridge, came from Oakley. Dr. Naismith was one of our great tight ends. Just sort of to go show you what this place meant to them and me when I was a part of it. Just great kids, and I look forward today to seeing our championship teams. I've gotten several texts and communication about some others that are going to be here today, and just it's a special place for them. It was a great time in our lives, and I wish Jen and Ty could be here today to see this, but they have obligations as well. But it's an unusual situation. We took this place over when we were going from NAIA to Division II, and and I'll never forget driving out here. I'm probably doing more talking right now, but I'll never forget driving out here. We were getting ready to interview in '97 for the job. I was offense coordinator at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. My dad and I, who I got to spend 18 years with here, was huge part of my life. But we drove out here, and the press box at that time was on stilts. I think it was just on block brick. There was a chain link fence that went around the stadium, and there was gravel that led down to the press box. And that was all it was, other than there was a washing machine, there was a laundry mat or something on the right field. Anyway, we pulled up, and I just parked the car, and I looked, and I started shaking my head, and Dad said, "You know what? It's really not that bad." And I said, "Dad, it's god awful." But several people stepped up when I was here. Scott Niswanger, a good friend of mine today, was such a huge impact on everything that happened here. And good timing. You end up being able to recruit great players, and a lot of them are here today. A lot of these guys were all Americans that are in the room. A lot of them obviously started and played a lot for us, and we won a lot of games because we had a lot of great players. And my name is on this award today, but we had great players. We had great coaches. You mentioned a few of them. Ron Roberts. I heard Ron Roberts in 1997, 98. He's now the defensive coordinator at Auburn. I don't know who they play today, but I'm sure he's a little more nervous than I am sitting up here. But he really got our program started, and I give him a ton of credit. Boy, did he get after him. But these guys can tell you that. But we had some great coaches, had great players, had great administration, great leaders, and this was a great time of our lives.
I see Skylar over here, and it reminds me of one of the stories that you had, that one of the impacts that you were going to have was we're going to have the best long snappers in America.
That's right.
And we're going to be the best. And that started with Matt Ball, and that just kind of continued and progressed. We can talk about, Ricardo Copley and kind of how he impacted. I know that was a Ron Roberts get, a guy that brought him in for some of those. But those championship teams that we had with the great talent, and I think 2003, even though it doesn't really go down as that team, that may have been one of the best teams overall. Yeah, we got beat on a double throw at Catawba, I think, which was just kind of silly there. But these championship teams that'll be here today, and the impact that they'll have of winning it, winning's hard. It's not easy, especially when you got 11 other guys trying to stop you from winning. What were those championship years like for you, and was it any more special than any other year?
Well, in '98 when we got here, and I'll tell this story. When I got hired, I was given a sheet of paper that said, "Here's your expectations." You got to remember the teams in the past 3 years hadn't won any games, but the expectations, it said recruiting, retention, and record, and it was expected to be in that order. Well, the guys in this room didn't know that. They didn't hear that. They didn't believe that. And we started recruiting. In '98, we opened up our campaign that year. We were 3-0. We beat Maryville, we beat Lenoir-Rhyne, and we beat Catawba, who was nationally ranked in '98, our first year getting started. So we started off 3-0 with some really good players. We had several transfers from California, junior college transfers that Ron had brought in. And then in '99, we were 1-7. And I remember going to talk to Scott, meeting Scott Niswanger, and said, "Look, I'm sure not in here because we're being successful. I'm in here because if you want us to be successful, things have got to change." And then $50, $60 million later, things changed. So that's why we stayed here for 18 years like we did. But Our best football was in 2000, 2001, 2002, and 2003. That was our best football. And a lot of these guys are part of that. Now, the 08 team was special because we had some unbelievably talented kids that really fought and competed. But there's a young man sitting over here. I want to tell a quick story about Alan Slaughter. Raise your hand, Alan. He was here when we got here. Alan was quarterback in high school from North Georgia. We moved him to free safety. I don't remember what he was playing when we got here, but we beat Lenore Ryan in 2000, maybe it was 2000. And we're walking back, Ron and I were walking back from the stadium, and he said, "Coach, do you see these stats?" He said that they said that Alan had 25 tackles. He was playing free safety and we were playing an option team. He said, "There's no way he had 25 tackles." Well, we get to the staff meeting the next day. He said, "You know, I told you Alan didn't have 25 tackles. He had like 31. I'm like, "What?" You know, he just was one of those guys that made plays. That's what we inherited. We inherited some people that bought into what we were doing, believed in what we were doing. We took it to another level. There was so much excitement. It was just a great time to be here. And again, it goes to the players that were part of our team is why I'm here. It's not, and we worked hard, we put in time, had a lot of great, Pete Golding was a part of that 2008 staff, and Pete was a defense coordinator at the University of Alabama for the last 3 or 4 years. He's now the defense coordinator at Ole Miss, and he's another one that's nervous today. But Addison Williams was a part of our staff. He's a defense coordinator at Central Florida, and Jeremy Jones, he works down there around Addison, and just a lot of great coaches, a lot of great people, and just a great time.
You go through this journey, and then you take over a role as an athletic director, and I think you see how the other side of it, how it changes just a little bit. When you see that aspect, and were you terrified when you're getting ready to take a role of running an athletic department?
No, I just remember going to the president at the time and saying, "I can barely do my job as a head football coach, and you're wanting me to take on the AD role. I've got to have some help."
Yeah.
So I ended up hiring 2 former players. One of them's here today, Randy Loggins. You mentioned Deborah. Somebody mentioned Deborah earlier. Deborah ran it when I was here, and I guarantee she runs it today when I'm not here. If it wasn't for her, this place would have folded a long time ago. She's been here forever. But when we took over the AD role, my role changed, but it just went from 24 hours a day to 40 hours a day, if there's such a thing. We worked all the time. We invested. We tried to hire the best coaches we could, and Dom and Chris, they're the best in the business. And I'm not just saying that with them here. Dom Donnelly's the best sports information director in the business. Chris Linker's the best trainer in the business. And Tusculum's so lucky to still have them. The people that invested their time at Tusculum College, now Tusculum University, believed in it. Dr. David Bowe is here today. And if it wasn't for Dr. Bowe, our football team don't exist. He would do everything he could. Dr. Bowe, raise your hand, please. He would do everything he could to help our kids get through, to try to figure out a way. He knew they needed to graduate. I was trying to get them eligible. He was trying to get them graduated. I guess ultimately we're both doing the same thing, but just the quality of time that was spent here, it definitely was worth my time, and my family's here today, and just appreciative of my brother and his family. Again, Ty and Jen aren't able to be here, but I appreciate them coming. And spending 18 years with my father, I took the job in '97. He was scheduled to retire from a factory in '97. We spent 18 years together. Those were the times you never forget. Championships were great. Success was great. Watching the kids graduate was special, but developing the friendships and developing what we developed as a family, and it was just a family atmosphere for sure.
Some that may not know, as a kid from Greenville that played football here at Greenville High, he already had that name. I went to Furman, won a national championship there at Furman, so he's been in both of these Hall of Fames at these schools, and then you come here to Tusculum. You talked about what we saw and how I saw it, when it first began. Now to this moment today, it does come full circle. You've done this a little bit, but here it is, Tusculum. This is a place that you put blood, sweat, and tears. Worked right alongside your dad. Your brother was here. Your whole family, supported that. And now to go into this and have this moment, what does this mean?
Awesome. It's unbelievable. It's just it's a dream come true. You mentioned I was inducted into 2 Hall of Fames previous, and I was, and those are great things to happen, but I wasn't able to go receive this award. I wasn't able to be in front of people that really deserved it. So I'm here today, and Reedy Toney, our tennis coach at Dobbins Bennett, showed up today. He's a Hall of Famer himself, but just seeing guys like that, come around and support and be here, and Monica's here, and Kim. I've known that we go on vacation still with Monica and Kim, Jen and I do, and just being able to be in this setting, in this role, around this group of people, it just means the world. And I'm honored for the other 3 that are here today. And Chief was raise your hand, Chief. He was my first hire as an athletic director. Our volleyball coach left, and I hired Chief. I hired Michael Robinson as our volleyball coach. and I've tried to hire him again, and I'll try to hire him again. I don't know if his wife's gonna let me, but I think he's one of the best in the business too, and I know he's had a great player. Gatelin was a great one, but Chief just did an unbelievable job, and Brandon and Caitlin, just congratulations to everyone that's going in. Simon, I remember him running like you talked about him running. I can still see that today, and still don't know how to pronounce his last name, but just being here is a special honor. Dr. Hummel, thanks for having me. You know, hopefully things are going well out here at Tusculum, and hopefully it keeps going in the direction it has been.
From the days where when we did the athletic banquet in the old cafeteria, well, that's where the cafeteria is, downstairs where all the coaches had the opportunity to speak for 3 hours, Frankie changed that and came to me and said, run it, and just get up there and speak, just talk about it and get through it. And I know the coaches want to say things and have the impact on those lives, but a lot of things that this guy did behind the scenes, a lot of people didn't understand and see, and how he supported this community and how he continues to support this community and what he does at Dobbins Bennett, being as an alum, to see that. This guy's special.
Thank you.
The newest Hall of Fame member at Tusculum University, he's Frankie DeBusk.